What's happening, Carolina fans? Welcome to Two Fans in the Stands, a podcast related to all things Carolina Panthers and North Carolina Tar Heels. I'm your co-host Tony.
And I'm your co-host CJ.
Let's go. CJ, what's going on, man? How you feeling today?
Feeling good, man. Another day, another blessing.
I know that's right. I know that's right. Well, I tell you what, that game tonight, boy, it didn't sit too well in my spirit. It didn't sit too well in my spirit. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna digress on that, and I'm just gonna chalk it up and say it's the preseason, and we just working through the kinks.
Oh yeah.
Well, give me your overall take on the second preseason game versus the Patriots.
Besides the our second string defense, I think they held up pretty well for the two series they win the game. The rest of the game, you can box that up, tape it up, and put it in the warehouse on the top shelf and just let it ride.
That's how you feel.
Yeah, I mean, now, even when Scott Fitterer was in the booth,
Yeah.
he was like, defense is playing very vanilla still, because I
Right.
think they're still looking to see who can win these one-on-one matchups. What are you going to do when it's just you versus the opponent? Defensive line in the trenches, your linebackers, especially your corners, when they're out there one-on-one. And like I said, the second team defense, I mean, they held their own versus the starters for New England. I think they did pretty good. Now, mind you, I don't know exactly what kind of offense New England was running. I don't think they were running anything that was
Too
going to be part of
exotic.
a. Yeah, they wouldn't run anything too exotic.
Right.
They were kind of basic too. But still, that's still your second string defensive talent versus their first string offensive talent.
That's
So
true.
vanilla or not, I was pretty pleased with that. I
Right.
was, because in the past we have had a lot of issues, when defenders get hurt, and then you get the backups in the game and it completely changes the defense. And it's just like,
Right.
hey, y'all can't get in here for half a game or two plays, and hold your own at all. So
Right.
that was
Right.
kind of encouraging to see. Now offensively, ugh, that was a rough one.
Talk about it. Talk
That
about it.
that that was a rough one. I feel so bad for PJ Walker, because I thought this was his, not thought, this was pretty much his audition tape game. He was
Yeah.
going out there to make himself look better or desirable for any other NFL team, because I think everybody knows that they're not going to keep him, and they're not going to keep three quarterbacks on the roster. Like you said, Corral is probably headed to the practice squad.
Right.
But PJ had his opportunity to go out there and make it do what it do with what he had. He didn't have the
Right.
first string offensive line out there. you know well, he had one member, possibly two, of the first string offensive line out there with him.
Yeah.
But those first couple of possessions, you know it was all night, it was a combination of bad throws and bad offensive line play. Okay.
Very bad throws. He
Yeah.
almost looked like Sam Darnold out there one time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was going to rebuttal a little bit against that, but no, you absolutely right. I'm not gonna say that. He sure did. He missed a lot of throws, high
Yes, he
throws,
did.
throws behind the
Yes, he did.
receivers, throws at their feet. Him and Matt Corral both, and it was
Yep.
just like it was a combination, kind of familiar, especially like last year. It was like when the play was there, the ball didn't make it. You know what I mean? Or you get outside the pocket and they got everything covered up.
Right.
you know but he's, yeah, this was his opportunity. I can't, I'm trying to think of a way to
Trying to
I
be
don't know,
nice.
trying to be nice, trying to make it sound better than it is, because I really like PJ Walker. I really do.
I get it.
Because
I get
every
it.
time he's got into a regular season game the past couple years, Carolina's won. So he
Yeah,
took advantage of his opportunities. You
yeah,
know what I
he
mean?
did.
And I think this may have been a situation where, you know, if we could go back in time and tell the management for the Panthers, like, hey, you're going to get Baker Mayfield a couple months from now before they drafted him. You never know; they may not have drafted him.
Who you talking about? Matt Corral?
Yes, I'm sorry, Matt Corral.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm
okay.
sorry, I lost my thought there, but I was getting to a point. If if they would have known they was going to get Baker Mayfield, before the draft, they wouldn't have took Matt Corral. And maybe PJ wouldn't be in this spot, but then again, he might be because, like you said, he played too much. He played too many snaps last year for them to put him on the practice squad.
Yeah, not even just last year. I mean, I'm just talking about uh the time he has played in the league as a whole. You know what I'm saying? Like during that time, your progression hasn't gotten any better. So
True.
basically, what you are putting on tape right now, it is that's what you are. That's you are who you are, and it
Yeah.
doesn't even seem like it's getting any better.
Yeah. I agree with you on that one. Yeah. I will agree. But it's him, and you know, like I was telling you before, I hope I pray to the good Lord that our starting offensive line stays healthy. And I know we can't
Yeah,
guarantee that, but if one goes down, I think we got a couple of really decent backups. But if
yeah.
we got to get down into what we saw last night, especially in the latter part of the first half and that third and fourth quarter, oh, we in trouble.
Yeah, yeah, that offensive line last night, they 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 look like they needed some work. And I'm going to chalk it up to that probably we're just playing a very vanilla basic type of offense last night. So I'm trying not to be too hard on them. I just hope that when the game really counts, come week 1,
Yeah.
they need to tighten some things up.
Yeah. I'm hoping that maybe, they got all the good reps in during the week when they was out there, throwing bowls at each other. It seems like we should have watched practice all week. Like they should have had the,
Right.
the camera there and filmed that all week, because that game was just blah. I mean, it was blah
Yeah.
on both sides. It
Yeah.
wasn't like the Patriots went out there and played one, just great game. It was just a game all around. Well, all right, Tony. Well, that was my take on the game as a whole last night. What did you think about it?
Well, me personally, I was disappointed in the offense. Even though most of the starters didn't play and it was the second and third teams in the lineup, there were guys who are locked in as starters that disappointed me. Number one was Ike Kwano. Ike looked like a guy who was going to be exploited in the pass pro. His pass pro is worse than I thought. He has to show tremendous growth with his technique between now and week 1 against Cleveland, or Miles Garrett is going to have a field day. One thing that one knock that I had against Icky was his pass pro. I don't think he pass sets. He doesn't have good technique when it comes to with his kick step. If you don't know what that is, when his back leg is
I
behind him,
got you.
you have to kick with that leg first.
Yeah.
His kick step is choppy. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it tends to leave you off balance. And that's one thing for any offensive lineman, especially a tackle. If you're not balanced, especially balanced from the head up, then you're completely off balance. And especially if you don't have your feet, if your feet is not right. So I just hope and pray that between now and week one, he takes the time and clean up and really focus on his pass pro, cause
Hmm.
um cause week one is when it becomes real. Brady Christensen, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you good. I was just gonna agree with you and say, yeah, week one really is go time.
Yeah, yeah. Brady Christensen did okay for an undersized guard. I still feel he needs to get stronger and work on his balance because there's a lot of times, especially that, you know, tonight, he was just you saw him leaning a lot, leaning forward. And as an offensive lineman, I've talked about this before. If you don't know how to drop that anchor, I mean, get your ass low, bend your knees, you know what I'm saying, and set a
Hmm.
foundation for yourself, then you allowing the defensive lineman to to take you any which way he want to take you. You know what I'm saying? Because I saw him I saw him quite a few times get pushed back. He held his own, but that initial punch kind of knocked him backwards, and it like knocked him off balance. So me personally, I always thought that he was a little light, a little undersized to be playing guard. So I was thinking maybe he would put on some weight during this off season and come back, maybe around about 315, 320. But I don't think that don't look to be the case, but we'll see. I saw Deontay Brown and K Mays get handled a couple of times and look confused as well. I was even surprised to see Deontay end up on the ground a couple of times. K Mays, I saw him get hip tossed like a WWE wrestler, you know. But he did, yeah. I saw, I think it was like later in the third quarter, or maybe it was the fourth quarter, and he was playing right guard at the time, and the defensive lineman came through and looked like he got him off balance a little bit. And next thing I know, I just seen him look like he just been hip tossed. I was like, good lord. I was like, who was 64? Then I was like, oh, that's Cade Mays. I had never seen that from him before. You know what I'm saying? No, normally he pretty solid in there, so it kind of shocked me. But he did show, like I said, he did show his versatility by playing multiple positions Friday night, because he did come in behind Sam Tecklenburg and play some center. And
Hmm.
if I'm not mistaken, he even slid over to the left guard position of one series in the fourth quarter. I could be wrong, but I thought I saw him over there playing the left guard position for a series last night. Dennis Daly looked horrible as usual. So did Cam Irvin. I mean, I'm serious,
Yep.
dog. They Dennis Daly falls in that same category when I was talking about last week with Cam Irvin and Michael Jordan. These three guys were actually starters on the line last year that you were looking to overhaul. I don't know, or I don't even understand why they are even in consideration right now. The only thing I can come up with is that right now it benefits to have them in camp, because it gives you the numbers. Like they got like probably like 12 or 13 offensive linemen right now in camp. But I'm expecting, I'm not only expecting, I'm hoping and praying that those three are not with the team when week one rolls around. I really believe it's time for Cam Irvin, Dennis Daly, and Michael Jordan. It's time for them to be gone. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
see you later. Bye. Dennis Daly got. I mean, he showed last night exactly why he's not even in the starting lineup. Like, dude, you've been in this offense for like 3 years, and it's like you still seem lost. But I'm gonna digress on that one. I ain't gonna keep beating the dead horse with a stick, because That's exactly what it is. The receivers, they were steady but not great, and there were some drop passes on their end, but a lot of the time the ball was being over or underthrown, and the ball was also late a lot. So even though they didn't overperform, but they didn't underperform, you know, neither. It was just like blah, you know what I mean? The run game didn't get anything going with Chuba Hubbard or Deontay Foreman. Hopefully, going forward, the offense won't look so vanilla, and they will get better opportunities. The quarterback play, as we were just talking about, was horrendous. I
Trash.
believe PJ, yes, trash. I believe PJ has really played himself not only off the team but out of the league. Two interceptions and a fumble in the end zone doesn't look good on any resume. So I don't know. I know he probably wishing that this tape will get lost somewhere, or destroyed in a fire or something, because this is not a good look. Last night was not a good look for him. You know, Matt Corral looked just like the project I thought he was, but luckily for him, he is a rookie, so time is on the side. But I hope he uses the time wisely and get better. The defense showed better play this week than last week against Washington. The defensive line looked better conditioned this time around. I ain't see nobody walking around with an oxygen tank or anything like that. What's your boy Frank Herring, how he was doing last week?
Get me out of the game, coach.
Get me out the game, boss. Yeah, tap tap. It's me. Yeah, So I saw better conditioning from them. It looked like they were holding their own. Marquand, what's his name? Marquand, number 78, the big guy
I
from Kentucky.
Yeah,
Um,
I know you talking about. I can't
yeah,
remember his last name though.
can't remember his name, but he a couple times he applies pressure straight up the middle, playing the nose guard position. I mean, he's a big guy. He's like 360, 370 pounds. And for someone that size, he got pretty quick feet, you know. So
Marquand McCall, that's his name.
Marquand McCall, yeah. I did see a good effort from him last night. So the defense recorded a few sacks and the pick six, and that pick six was a courtesy of Tay Hayes.
Your
And
boy.
yeah, shout out to Tay Hayes, because yesterday was his 25th birthday as well. So he got a pick six on his
That's all right.
25th birthday. Yeah, I know, right?
Yep.
But I can honestly say that Sam Franklin and Sean Chandler only value, besides that they play for Matt Rule at Temple, their only value to this team is on special teams, because they are
Yes.
horrible safeties that are
Yes.
confused and can't tackle. Man,
Yep.
they 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 are two more players that showed you last year what their true value was to the team, because each time that they were in the game last year, especially Sean Chandler,
Hmm.
for some reason they always put him in position where he was playing single high safety, and each time he was playing single high safety, he got his ass handed to him. I mean, he got
Hmm.
set on fire. Minnesota came back and won the game on that same play.
Sure
Out from
did.
from from the slot, that slot post, and just
Straight to the
burned them
corner.
up straight to the corner. And I think it
Hmm.
was somebody else they lost to, just like that. And he was burnt on that. He was the same person that was burnt out against Minnesota, and it was somebody else. I can't remember who it is, but
Yeah.
yeah, them two, they only value, the only reason, if it was me, that I would be keeping them on the team is to strictly play special teams. I wouldn't even have them back there playing safeties. But it was a game last night of the second and third stringers, so you know, ain't too
Yeah.
much I can really say about that. But
Well, speaking of third stringers, I mean, we both like Kenny Robinson.
yeah,
I'm not even gonna lie. I would love to give him a chance over the two of them any day.
oh yeah, yeah, nah, definitely. I'm glad that they didn't cut Kenny Robinson, and I'm glad that he's still on the team. Now I don't know if there was some type of heavy fine or
Yeah,
whatever the punishment was.
I
But
think somebody made that up because there was reports. Oh, well, the Panthers are going to cut Kenny Robinson, especially after this, incident 2 days in a row in practice, and you know that's not what we heard in the game tonight. They all came to his defense. From what
yeah,
what the commentators were telling. They all
oh
came to his
okay.
defense, and they didn't believe that anything he did was malicious.
Oh,
He wasn't
by
out there
standing
trying to
over
hurt
the
any.
player,
Yeah, I mean, my thing is, a lot of times they call the NFL the no fun league, and sometimes it's
right?
right. I mean, my thing is you out there playing sports, you gonna get junk talk to you, you gonna talk junk back to people. That's just a part of it. My thing
Right.
is, if you get beat, you know, and then the man that burns you is talking a little junk. You know what? What you should do, file that away, keep it in your mind. Next play, work on it. Don't get mad and start swinging and throwing stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like that. That's my thing now that I don't like. All these cats, they get mad because somebody give them a little look or do something to them, and the first thing they want to do is try and fight. Like, no,
Yeah,
take your medicine and come back next play and work at it and make it better.
yeah. I think, and I don't even know if it's even possible. Is it even possible? Like I know football is a male is an alpha male sport. You know what I'm saying? It's probably the most aggressive, most physical, barbaric sport out there. But it seems like a lot of these guys don't know how to control that aggression on the field. It's like every play after every play, somebody's beating their chest. I don't care
Yes,
if they ran for 3 or 4 yards or they got a first down, they just act like they just scored a touchdown.
yes,
That's like
yes,
with Sam Franklin. It's like every time he make a tackle, he getting up flexing his arms, and I'm like, bro, you ain't did shit. You
yeah,
ain't did nothing. Like what are we really flexing for? You ain't
yeah,
did nothing. It
yeah,
kills me. It burns me to no end, especially when you're not even that dude. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
I don't understand who you trying to impress. It
Hmm.
kills me. It burns me up.
Yeah.
It
Now
burns me up.
preseason, I give most of them a pass for preseason, especially when it's your opportunity to get in the game and you make a big play. Your team might be getting beat, by 20 points or whatever in the preseason game. But if this is your first action, you get in the game and you get a sack or bat down a ball, get the other team off the field. I can see that, but regular season, I agree with you. Cats get in the game down by 20 points, make one tackle, and then want to start flexing like they done something.
Man, it kills
Yeah,
me.
that
It
is some
kills
aggravating stuff to
me
watch.
to no ends. To no ends. But in a nutshell, an overall nutshell, I'm just curious to see how the defensive depth unfolds when it gets close to cut down day. Because I feel like there's gonna be like some shuffling, not just cuts, but I think there's
Yep.
going to just be some shuffling from other
Hmm.
teams. So
Yeah, I
I'm
agree.
definitely curious. I'm definitely curious about that. But offensively, what did you see from the second and third teams?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing that impressed me.
Oh
Okay.
God.
Now I will no now Icky did get he got his ass handed to him a couple plays, but he came back and I think he played a lot better after
On
that.
back-to-back plays.
Yeah,
Yeah,
back to back
back-to-back
plays.
sacks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
back to back sacks he gave up. But it's all about how he goes, how he looks at this tape, how he works on his form, and how he does
Right.
this going forward. But the only thing I kind of wonder is if he's showing this now, he showed this in college. So you got
Yeah.
to think that hey, they knew about this. So, maybe they know they got to work on him in these certain areas, and I going forward that needs to be a focus, especially for the offensive line coach. They got to sit him down, they got to work with him and get that straight. It didn't seem like there was a whole lot of communication with the offensive line. It
Right.
again, it seemed like very vanilla. It was like, hey, this is your guy, you take him. It didn't seem like anything that was planned or schemed for. Like, hopefully, we'll see week one going forward. You know,
Right.
because in preseason, yes, you want to see how players are going to play in certain situations, but to me, it feels like that has been amplified a little more this year than in previous years. You know, it seems like this preseason they're like, okay, these first two games just going to be how y'all gonna go out there and how y'all gonna play 1-on-1. We ain't really doing much of nothing. Like, you got to go out there and get a man and let's see what you're going to do. And I'm
Right.
hoping that once they implement a game plan, once they start scheming things and preparing for teams each week, I'm hoping that this will all come together and look a lot better. It's especially in the
Right.
offensive line and in the defensive secondary, you know. But now I'm sorry, back to the offense. But when once it comes together, I'm hoping that it will look a whole lot better. The receivers, I think Keith Kirkwood is going to be a solid receiver. Shy Smith is going to be a solid receiver,
You
and
think you
Rashard
think
Higgins is going to
you
be a
think
solid receiver too.
you think Keith Kirkwood is gonna make the final roster?
I think he has a shot.
Oh
I think
wow.
he had. I think he has a shot because the thing is, Saunders is hurt. My man, Wright, 83. He
Right.
looks he's looked impressive every time he's caught the ball. But
Yeah.
is there enough of him, enough action, that he's gotten to get the coaching staff to say, hey, you know what? We got to keep him on the 53-man roster. Now he might end up on the practice squad, you know.
I think Keith Kirkwood is gonna end up on the practice squad. I don't think they're gonna carry any more than six, maybe seven receivers on
Well,
the
if they
active
keep seven,
roster.
because you got Moore, Anderson, Marshall, Shy Smith, Rashad Higgins, you
Terrace
know.
Marshall.
Yeah, that's it. Not say Marshall.
I don't. Maybe you
Hold
did.
on.
Maybe you did.
Yeah, Moore, Anderson, Marshall, Shy Smith, Rashad Higgins, Kirkwood.
Okay.
That and Zilstra. I'm sorry, Zilstra. Zilstra might be that one. If they keep six, then he might hit the practice squad. But I
Yeah,
highly
that's what I'm
doubt.
saying. I think Zilstra will make the final roster before Kirkwood do because of his value on special teams.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. But I mean, from a standpoint of, Kirkwood has made a few good plays this preseason. They get him the ball in the right spot. He's caught it. But
Right.
I don't think it's going to be a situation where we're not going to hear from him, this whole season, because injuries do happen, and I'm praying that they don't. But I think if he doesn't make the initial 53-man roster, I think he'll
Right.
find his way back on there, for at least a few games during the season, unless he's scooped up by another team. But
Okay.
for the most part, they didn't have a whole lot to work with last night as far as the receivers. There were a
No, they
lot
did
of
not.
there were a lot of bad balls thrown their way. Um, I do remember Matt Corral did take a deep shot. I think they were almost at the 50-yard line, and it was there. It was there. He threw it about 6 yards too far down the field because the receiver had enough of a step on the DB where he could have caught that if he'd have laid it right there in his lap. But
Right.
it was a lot. It was a lot of missed passes, behind receivers, low, over their heads, and that was from PJ and Matt Corral.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
but
It
uh,
was not a good night for neither one of them.
nah, it really wasn't. It really wasn't, and it's hard to, to think of a lot of positives, on offense when all they mustered up was 3 points,
Come on,
and
positive
it was
Pete.
wild. It was wild because at the end of the game, I'm kind of thinking, I'm like, okay, this ain't gonna be like last week where the refs, because when who was it when PJ got, was it PJ or Corral that got sacked in the end zone, and then they called the one penalty on New England, and I think holding on Carolina that was offset. So then they got another
I think that
play.
was Matt Corral.
Yeah, I think that was Corral. And then for a second I was like, oh, I said, dang, I said the refs gonna help us out again this week, you know. But I mean, now last week, I think those calls were legit. But when I say help us out, because the offense really did not do anything on that last drive. It was the penalties that got us in field goal range.
Sure
And
was.
I was thinking, is that going to be a repeat this week? And then a couple plays later, I was like, nope, that's a wrap. That is not going to be the case today.
Right. Right.
Yeah, but yeah, offensively, it was just, this is one of those games where they really, you know, I think this is good for the coaching staff because, like I said, Icky, they're going to see what he has to work on. And I think there are a few of those, a few people where they're just like, you know what, this was your time to get out there and show us what you can do, and you laid a complete egg. You just went out there and just fell flat on your face.
Ain't that the truth?
Mm-hmm. All right, Tony. So what was your take offensively?
Well, I'm gonna throw a couple stats at you. Now, there's nothing really positive about what I'm about to say. Like like you pretty much said it all. There's really nothing positive to take from the game last night, especially offensively. But I'm just gonna just throw these lackadaisical. That's what I'm gonna call it. That's the first word that came to mind. So I'm gonna go with it. These lackadaisical numbers at you. PJ Walker was 8 of 15 for 107 yards, which equates to a 7.1 average. He was sacked 4 times, threw 2 interceptions, and fumbled 1 time, which was recovered by New England in the end zone for 6 points. Like I said before, I believe he has played himself off of the roster for sure. I don't see any growth in his game since he has been in Carolina. Matt Corral, on the other hand, Matt Corral was 9 of 15 for 59 yards. That's a measly 3.9 average, and he was sacked 1 time. Now, basically, Matt looked like a project. I mean, I've been saying this, from day one. He's a project. He definitely need some time to develop. The offensive line didn't do him no justice while he was in there either. I hope his foot injury isn't too serious. I know they say last night that he had an X-ray, I believe, before he left the stadium, and he left the stadium in a boot. So I hope you know the future news is not not too bad, but like I said, he's going to be a candidate for the practice squad, so he's going to have time to heal. He's going to have time to develop and all that. So it's not like there's no rush to get him back. You know what I mean? The offensive line as a whole, you mean in the second and third teams, did not play well at all. They allowed 5 sacks and didn't help the offense really gain any traction. I can't wait to see the first team against Buffalo next week.
Yes.
Then the wide receivers and the running backs were just okay. I mean, like I said, they didn't overperform, but they didn't underperform neither. Nothing stood out in their performance due to the awful quarterback and offensive line play. So I'm not even gonna put I'm gonna put most of the blame on the quarterbacks and the offensive line, and I just I just believe that the wide receivers and the running backs get a pass this week. Now, Sullivan did fumble the ball. He didn't secure the ball when the tight end number 84. He didn't
Yeah.
secure the ball and was stripped of the ball and it was a fumble. So, definitely, as far as if you want to say that's like a receiver, that was like to me the only knock on them last night that that I saw. But let's flip it to the other side of the ball. What did you see from the second and third team defense?
Okay. Now, a little more positive, especially from the first unit that was on the field, which would be our second team defense. They held their own for a few series. Um, I like Amari Barno. If you saw a couple of his plays, he has really good get off and he can get around the corner.
Yeah,
Okay.
but he was absent last night, like he was a ghost.
Yeah, this is true, but I know I'm about to say the word that you don't like, which is potential, you know. But we talked about this another episode. If your two interior defensive linemen can get pressure and keep that pocket small and keep that quarterback from stepping up in the pocket, I like what he may be able to do, not on a consistent basis this year because he's probably not going to be in there like that, but
Right.
in the future, so
Okay.
we'll see where that goes with him. Um, Brandon Smith, he made a couple plays. He had a sack later on, but like you said, that was later on against their like third string offense. But
Right.
you know, the defensive backs, I think the starters that were in the game, they did okay. I can't really I can't really say, oh, they did great. That because
Yeah.
again, this is just it's preseason. They did what they had to do, versus their first New England's first team offense. Now mind you, once the second, our second, probably third stringers got in the game, now it was a different story because Mac Jones just drove right down the field on them. But I think as a whole, once you throw the starters back in, um, and once we get everything worked out, get your lineup straight, and I say this like I said about the offense. Once the season starts and you start scheming, start preparing for teams, I think
Right.
it'll be a much. Our defense was not bad last year. Let me say that they were not
No.
bad at
No.
all.
No. They weren't
Second
bad at
second
all.
ranked defense as far as yards given up, but we were terrible in other numbers because it's one thing, you got good players that making plays, but when you're consistently getting the ball, you know, on your own side of the field and you got your back against the wall off the gate, it's hard. We were
Yeah.
terrible in red zone defense last year, but when you get on the field and the opponent is already in the red zone, I mean, hey, you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's a
But
problem.
yeah, but let me not get too far on that. But back to last night. I didn't see a whole lot that really stuck out to me. I think Tay Hayes, has a shot to make the squad. I think he'll probably be more of a he'll probably be more of a special teamer. but he has definitely made some plays in both of these games this year in the preseason.
Yes, he
Especially with the pick
has.
six last night, because he read that play, to a T, because they had some motion going on in the backfield, and he didn't fall for it. And
Right.
when Zappy turned around and threw that ball, he was already out of his break and making a beeline for that ball, and
Yeah.
he just knew that was his. But yeah, my man, what's my man name? We just said it just now. McCall from Kentucky.
Marquand McCall.
Marquand McCall. I'm not even
Yeah.
gonna lie. I would like to see him. I'd like to see him get some more burn and get in some different situations. He showed some flashes last night. He looked pretty good, because there was a
Yeah.
fourth down play, and I mean he split the guard in the center, and by the time the running back got his hands on the ball, he had his hands on the running back.
Yeah,
You
that's
know.
when I think New England, it was like 4th and 1. New England was going
Mm-hmm.
for it, and
Yep.
they basically took the offensive line and put them in the backfield.
They sure did. He took two of them himself and put them in the backfield.
Yeah, yeah,
He took two of them by himself, and then
yeah.
the rest of the crew was there to go ahead and finish up the tackle, and then we got the ball back. But yeah, yeah. Last night's game was it was okay. It was okay. I think the defense was the really only bright spot that we had, and it was
Exactly,
the first two
exactly.
series, and then you had the pick six by Tay Hayes, and that was really about it. I think I think a lot of people probably worked themselves right off, onto the cut list. But yeah. So what did you think about the defense?
Well, let's see. The defense as a whole played good, and I believe that the game was closer than it looked on the scoreboard. They held the Patriots' first team offense to 2 3 and outs at the beginning of the game, and the defense recorded two sacks and that pick six, again courtesy of Tay Hayes. Um, Tay Hayes has really he continues to show that he belongs. I would definitely play him over Marjorie Harper and Stanley Thomas Oliver. I love his instincts and his toughness. Brandon Smith played well. He had that sack and a tackle for loss. I
Mm-hmm.
really don't have much to say about Sam Franklin or Sean Chandler. Last year should have been enough to see that they are strictly special teamers. Just like I mentioned before, if that's what they're going to be, is that if that's the role that you're going to play them in, okay, cool. But they do not need to step foot on on the field defensively playing safety unless it is a dire need. And this year, I think we have the depth at safety where that shouldn't have to be the case. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, but you know, you can't really say too much or even try to harp on the defense or the offense too much because they were
Mm-hmm.
the second and third team players out there. These are guys that we're not going to really see during the regular season. We just, I guess, right now, and just like this is the reason why they play preseason to see
Mm-hmm.
what you have as a whole. Which is second, who's going to be your second team, which is basically your backups, and who's going to back up your backups. You know,
Yeah.
um, I just think when it comes to making these next round of cuts, because I think they got to get down to like 80 players by the 23rd, which is Monday. And then, then when they make the final cut down to 53, I think there's going to be some players that stick. I think there's going to be players that's candidates for the play, for the practice squads. But I also believe there's going to be some swapping going on. I believe when other teams may waive a player, cut a player, you know, I hope Carolina is just keeping an eye out, and you know, which I'm pretty sure they are. You
You
know,
must have been reading my mind.
yeah, yeah. I just hope I can't wait really for next week because I think next week you're going to get us. We're going to get a warm up with the first team, you know, at least for a good quarter, a good half, you know.
Hmm.
So we're really going to see a little bit of this Ben McAdoo's offense and a little bit of what the defense can do with a full complement of starters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just
So
want to piggyback on to what you said. I
okay.
really do hope that they're looking, because there are a lot of teams who have a lot of good talent that they have to let go because they just have better talent at those positions. Not that they're bad, they just don't have a spot for them. And this is one thing I've always wanted them to do is okay, stop just being, you know, cool with what you have.
Right.
Always be on the lookout, always keep your head on the swivel. And hey, there was a young player for so and so that got let go. Because like you
Yeah.
said, I would let Irvin, Jordan, Daly, it's a couple more of them go, and and bring in some other offensive line talent that got let go by some of these other teams. Because like I said,
Yeah.
some of these players aren't bad, but some teams just don't have the need for them right then and there.
Right.
So I hope that's something that they'll be on the lookout for.
I believe Scott Fitterer would do that. I believe that he is always, you know, scouring, you know, looking through the waiver wires and keeping his ear to the ground and seeing what's available. So I believe he'll be on it. I believe he's going to take care of that. But
Oh yeah.
before we get out of here, give me a quick overview of next week opponent, which is the Buffalo Bills. What would you like to see from the Panthers?
What I want to see from the Panthers next week, I want to see if it's Baker, Sam, whoever they're gonna start. I want to see a sustained drive. I want to see them put points on the board. I want to see six, not three. I want to see him go out there, have control over the offense. I want to see the offensive line protect. I want to see the running backs. I want to see the offensive line make holes. I want to see the running backs hit the holes, get positive yards. I don't want to see, a whole lot of them getting stopped in the backfield or taking the toss sweep to the edge and getting you know
Christian
knocked back
McCaffrey.
3 and 4 yards. I don't think McCaffrey's gonna play, but Foreman
Right,
and Hubbard.
right.
I want to see positive plays. I want to see Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore. I hope if they play, but I hope that they work the dropsies out of their system that they had last year because both of them both of them had their moments last year where they had balls put right between their numbers and it fell straight to the ground.
Yeah,
That's what I want to see out of the offense. I want to see consistency. I want to see them being able to move the ball. I want to see them not when they get down in the red zone, take advantage of it.
right,
Hopefully no
right,
turnovers. Um, Defensively, if they're put in a position where they're backed up and they get on the field and the opponent's already in the red zone, I want to see them be able to bend and not break. You
right.
know what I mean? Because there was not a lot of that last year. And when they were in that situation, it was just and they immediately broke, and that was the end of it. You know,
Yeah,
um, I want to see Derek Brown and Matt Ioannidis. I want to see them get pressure up the middle. That's what I
yeah,
really want
yeah.
to see. I want to see
I agree with
Burns.
that.
I want to see Brian Burns. I want to see I'm sorry.
Vitor Gross Matos.
Gross Matos. I almost said his name completely backwards. Yeah, but Gross Matos. I almost called him Most Gratos. But yes, I want to see him and Burns and Marquise Haynes. I want to see them be able to tee off on the edges and get to the quarterback that's, hasn't had the chance to step up in the pocket, and get away from the pressure coming off the ends. Um, I I hope I'm not, jinxing anything, but I do believe that our defensive backfield may be one of our strengths this year, and I hope that holds true. And I hope that
It
comes
definitely
to
has the
fruition this
potential to
season.
be. It
Yes, it
definitely has
definitely
the
has the
potential to
potential.
be.
I think our defensive line and our secondary probably going to be our strength this year. Where we're going to have to wait and see is, I think, the linebackers. You got Shaq Thompson. Okay. Now who's going to step up around him? Is it going to be Damian Wilson, who I don't think we've seen him play yet this preseason.
He played
Um
he played one or two series against Washington.
Washington, okay.
Yeah, he played one or two
Him,
series against them.
yeah, him, you got Corey Littleton, Frankie Louvu. Where is Brandon Smith going to fall into all this? I think
Yeah.
we got a lot of talent, but I'm really curious to see what they're going to do, and if and how they're going to put it all together. But I definitely think it should be, I think it's going to be a lot more of an interesting game than these first two have been.
Right.
But I can't lie, I'm ready to see somewhat of what it's going to look like game one.
Right.
I know the past two games, everything has been vanilla, and if they're doing it for a reason, that's all well and good. But I'm sick of it. I want to see some football.
No,
And
I got you.
yeah, how about you? What you
I'm
looking forward to this week?
I'm anxious. I'm anxious to see the starters play this coming week. I believe Baker will be named the starter going forward. I believe that. I believe that announcement will be probably Monday or Tuesday. That
Mm-hmm.
that's that's just me. I just want them to go ahead and name him the starter to get it over with, so they can move forward with what the plan what the rest of the plan is going to be moving forward. Um, but I also believe he gives us the best chance to win. I can't believe I said that, but from
What
what
was
I've
that?
seen, I believe he gives us the best chance to win.
Oh,
Yeah, because I can't lie. I mean, the tape doesn't lie, and everything that I said I wanted to see from him thus far, personality wise, I never questioned his skill set. I just questioned his temperament and his personality wise, and how he lets it affect his play. If he could eliminate that, or even learn how to harness that, and use it in a positive manner, then yeah, I was all for Baker. I liked Baker when he was in college, when he was at Oklahoma. Hell, even when he was at Texas Tech, before he even walked on to Oklahoma. A lot of people don't remember Baker. Baker was a walk on at Texas Tech and earned the starting quarterback job at Texas Tech. Cliff Kingsbury was the head coach at Texas Tech back then. When Baker left Texas Tech and came to Oklahoma, he left Texas Tech because Patrick Mahomes came in his freshman year and took the position. So Baker left Texas Tech and walked on at Oklahoma. Then he won that job at Oklahoma and then won the Heisman, and the rest is history. So he has that rags to riches, like truly get out the mud. You know what I'm saying? And you can tell that about him in his swagger. I just wanted to see him channel that swagger and use it for good. That's all. That's all I ever wanted to see from him. And thus far it's been good. I also want to see the pass rush from the defensive front seven and solid play from the DBs. I want to see what kind of pressure we're going to be able to generate. Like you said, up the middle, and how it's going to allow the ends to get some one on one battles, and hopefully that they win it, and get to the quarterback. And I think when you do that, that's going to make it that much easier for the DBs because we have the talent at DB, in our defensive backs to if you get enough pressure up front, you're gonna get some turnovers. Cause them boys are some ball hawks, you know what I mean? Yeah, so
Yes,
um
sir.
I also want to see how Ike Quano and Brady Christensen continue to gel along with the rest of the offensive line and get better. They're going to play a vital part to how this offense moves forward. You got a second year player at left guard and you got a rookie at left tackle. That is always going to protect the quarterback's blind side. So how they progress moving forward is definitely going to tell you how well the offensive line is going to be. But yeah, that's what I want to see. I want to see some good offensive line play. I want to see Icky and Brady gel with the offensive line. I want to see some pass rush from the defensive front seven and some solid defensive back play. But other than that, that's about it, man. That's what I want to see.
Yeah,
That's
I
what I
can't
want.
lie. I was kind of, you know, happy when they signed Baker Mayfield. I was hoping that we was gonna get some of those progressive commercials at Bank of America Stadium, but I see that
Oh my
they
God.
they
Here
didn't
you
follow
go.
him. They didn't follow him to Carolina. I can't lie. I always got a kick out of the commercials. Call me whatever
Yeah.
you want to, but
I
I
mean, I
always
did
thought they
too.
were
Don't.
funny.
Hey, he's a character,
Yeah,
but
he is.
I don't think he's in a position to be doing progressive commercials right now. When like you're not that face of the franchise that you once were when you was in Cleveland.
Yeah,
Everything was
true.
being built or catered to you. You know,
Yeah,
you
I
you
got you.
he's recreating that image. You know what I'm saying? It's like you know continue eating that humble pie and let's go from there. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
I'm
yeah,
not
no, I
saying,
got you.
I'm
I'm just
pretty
talking about a
sure,
pure comedy standpoint, but I agree with you.
right? Yeah, but I believe those progressive commercials will be in his future again. I
Yeah,
believe that.
let's hope so.
Well, everyone, that will do it for us this week. Next week's opponent is the Buffalo Bills here at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina. Until then, Panthers fans, we out.
Thank you for listening to Two Fans in the Stands podcast. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and listen to us on your favorite podcast apps such as Apple and Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Amazon Music. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Tune in next week for another episode.